Far beyond Earth, in the cold dark of space, something strange happened. A small Zarnak scout ship, floating near the edge of the solar system, picked up a signal. At first, the signal seemed weak, just a quiet pulse moving through the stars. But then it grew stronger. It wasn't like the usual human radio waves. It was something else, sharper, faster, filled with coded energy. The Zarnak pilot stayed at the screen, unsure of what he was seeing. The ship's A said, "Unknown signal detected. Origin: Earth." The pilot quickly sent a message to the Zarnak High Command. He didn't know it yet, but this was the beginning of something very big. On Earth, deep under the ice of Antarctica, a massive structure came alive. Lights turned on. Engines started to hum. Hidden for years, a giant warship named Titan I had finally been activated. It stood like a beast inside its icy cave, taller than mountains and made of black metal. This was no ordinary human ship. It had no windows. Its engines did not use fire. It ran on something far older, far stronger. Dark energy taken from alien ruins. Scientists in white suits watched from control rooms. Their hands shook with fear and pride. One of them whispered, "It's time." The commander of Titan I stood inside the control center of the ship. He was a tall man with gray hair and sharp eyes. He had waited his whole life for this moment. He looked at the screen in front of him. It showed the stars outside, and the Zarnak scout ship still floating near the edge of the system. "They're watching," he said. "Let them." He gave the order, and the ship slowly rose from its frozen prison. The ice cracked and fell as Titan I broke free and climbed into the sky. The world didn't know what was happening. Only a few leaders and scientists had known about Titan I. Now, it was time for the galaxy to see what humans had been hiding. In the Zarnak capital, far across the stars, the High Command received the scouts' warning. They were a proud and ancient race, rulers of 20 star systems. They had fought many wars, crushed many weaker species. Humans, they believed, were just noisy creatures on a blue planet. Smart, maybe, but no threat. When they saw the signal data, they laughed at first. But then their lead scientist showed them the truth. "This is not just a message," she said. "It is a launch code. Something very powerful just came online." One of the generals leaned forward. "What kind of power?" The scientist's face went pale. "Something we do not understand." Back in space, the Zarnak scout ship tried to scan Titan I as it moved through the solar system. But every scan failed. The ship was cloaked in strange energy, and even light seemed to bend around it. It moved silently, faster than anything the scout had ever seen. The scout ship sent one last message. "It's heading our way." Then the signal went dark. Inside Titan I, the commander stood quietly, watching the stars. The AI voice spoke calmly. "Destination set. Zarnak territory in 3 days." The commander nodded. He remembered what the aliens had done to Earth's first colony ship 50 years ago, how they had destroyed it without warning, calling humans trespassers. That memory had never faded. Titan I was built in silence, deep underground, using alien knowledge found on the moon. For years, Earth had stayed quiet, growing smarter, building better. Now, they were ready. Back on Earth, leaders gathered in secret rooms, watching Titan I's journey on hidden screens. Some were afraid. Others were filled with hope. "We only wanted peace," one of them said. Another replied, "Peace doesn't last when others want war. Now we show them who we are." Across the planet, news started to leak. People talked about a new ship, a secret weapon. Some called it a myth. Others said it was Earth's final answer to the stars. In the Zarnak capital, panic began to spread. The High Command ordered more scout ships, more scans, more data. But Titan I was already gone from their systems. "It's like a ghost," one officer said. The Emperor of Zarnak, an old creature with silver eyes, called for an emergency meeting. We thought them weak, he said. Now they come to us with fire. The last scene showed Titan I speeding through space, its engines glowing dark blue, its weapons hidden but ready. The commander stood tall, his voice calm, as he gave the final order for the day. Send a message to the stars. We are coming. The ship vanished into the darkness, leaving behind only silence and fear. You said, Titan I moved through space like a shadow, fast and silent. The warship passed the rings of Saturn and reached the outer edge of the solar system. Its engines made no sound, but they burned with power no human ship had ever used before. The ship's black metal surface seemed to vanish in the darkness. On the Zarnak side, 5 scout ships were waiting. They had orders to stop Titan I and study its technology. The alien captains laughed. This will be easy, one said. Humans have never won a space battle. But when they saw Titan I appear, all laughter stopped. The human ship didn't match anything they had seen before. It was massive and smooth, with no visible weapons. One scout ship sent a scan. It failed. Another sent a warning shot. Titan I didn't move. Then, in one sudden moment, the human warship fired. A bright beam of energy shot across space. One alien ship exploded instantly, its parts flying in all directions. The rest of the Zarnak scouts screamed for backup. The humans had attacked first, and without warning. Inside Titan I, the AI spoke, "Target destroyed. Remaining hostiles detected. Initiating next strike." The human commander stood still, watching the stars. He didn't blink. He gave no smile. He only said, "No survivors." Titan I spun in space and fired again. Another alien ship was hit. Its shield lasted 1 second before it melted. The Zarnak ships tried to escape, but Titan I moved faster than they could track. It didn't fly like a normal ship. It jumped from one place to another, using strange mini wormholes created by its engines. The Zarnak pilots shouted in fear. "It's teleporting. It's everywhere." Their systems failed, their weapons did nothing, and their voices turned to panic. One ship launched missiles, but the missiles turned around and exploded before they reached Titan I. The human warship's defense AI hacked the alien codes mid-flight. "Your weapons are ours now," the AI said coldly. One of the last Zarnak ships tried to run. It didn't make it far. A silent blast from Titan I cut it in half. Flames spilled into space. The final ship turned and jumped into hyperspace, barely escaping. It sent a final message to Zarnak High Command. "Do not face them. Do not fight them. We are not ready." But the damage was done. The whole Zarnak fleet had lost 4 ships in less than 1 minute. No human ship in history had ever done that before. On Earth, people watched the battle through a secret live stream. It was meant for top leaders only, but the footage leaked. Millions saw it. All across the planet, people cheered. Some cried. Others just stared in silence. "We're not alone anymore," one person whispered. "And we're not weak." The commander of Titan I looked at the screen. A galaxy map appeared. The ship was heading toward the edge of human space, right toward Zarnak territory. A soft beep came from the AI. "Next encounter in 72 hours. The commander nodded slowly. "Good," he said. "Let them prepare." In the Zarnak capital, the High Command called an emergency meeting. The air was tense. Screens showed the destroyed scout ships. Their best pilots, gone. One general shouted, "How did the humans build this? Who helped them?" Another said, "No one. They did it themselves." Fear spread in the room. The emperor stood up and said, "This is a declaration of war." But even he looked unsure. They had faced many enemies before. But this one was different. Humans had always begged for peace. Now they came with weapons that didn't exist in any alien records. A voice recording from Titan I played on the room's speakers. It was the human commander. His voice was calm, but strong. "This is not a message of peace," he said. This is a message of warning. You will never harm our people again. You will never threaten Earth again. We are not afraid. We are not alone. We are ready. The message ended. The room went quiet. Somewhere in deep space, Titan 1 flew through the stars, leaving behind wreckage and silence. It had won its first battle, but it was just getting started. In the great halls of the Zarnak capital, fear had taken the place of pride. Their ships were destroyed, their best pilots gone, and they had no idea how humans had done it. The Zarnak scientists worked day and night to understand what had happened. They studied the battle recordings, slowed down the energy bursts, and scanned every piece of information sent by the last scout ship. What they found scared them even more. Titan 1 was using something they believed was impossible: dark energy. It was a kind of power only spoken of in ancient alien legends, something forbidden, something lost. The lead scientist looked up from her screen and whispered, "They have Korra's technology." Everyone in the room went silent. The Korras were an ancient race that vanished thousands of years ago. They were once the most powerful beings in the galaxy, but no one knew what happened to them. If humans had found Korra's ruins, and if they had used that knowledge to build Titan 1, then the galaxy was in danger, not just from war, but from something far beyond understanding. Back on Earth, in the frozen lands of Antarctica, the truth was locked away in secret labs and hidden documents. Years ago, during a moon mission, human astronauts had found a strange black structure buried deep under the surface. It wasn't human. It wasn't even from the galaxy, some said. Inside it, they found machines, maps, and a dead Korra's warrior frozen in time. That discovery was never shared with the world. It was kept in silence and moved to Earth. Scientists spent years trying to understand the alien data. Bit by bit, they learned how to shape dark energy, how to bend space, how to build something the galaxy had forgotten. That was how Titan 1 was born. The project was named Echo. Only 10 people knew the full truth. The warship was built under the ice, in a place where no satellite could see. No signal went in or out. It was powered by a dark energy core, alive, breathing, almost thinking. Even the AI inside Titan 1 was not fully human-made. It was part machine, part Korra's. It had a voice that was calm but cold, and it never asked questions. It only followed orders. The commander of Titan 1, a man named Marshall Rain, had been chosen long ago. He was not just a soldier. He was a survivor. He had lost his family when the Zarnak destroyed Earth's first colony ship. Since then, he had promised to protect Earth by any means. Now he stood in front of the core of the ship, watching the blue-black light pulse with power. He remembered the words written in the alien ruins. "The stars burn for those who dare." He had dared. And now the stars would burn. On the Zarnak side, fear turned to anger. They sent more ships, stronger ones. But they also sent spies, hoping to learn how Earth got this power. One of their agents, a shapeshifter, sneaked into a human space station near Mars. But what he saw shocked him. Humans were building more ships. Titan 1 was just the first. In a secret hangar, Titan 2 and Titan 3 were being built, faster than anyone thought possible. The spy barely escaped with his life. His report to the Zarnak High Command was short. "They are not preparing for war. They have already started it." The Zarnak Emperor ordered a full fleet to gather at the edge of their territory. He hoped they could stop Titan 1 before it reached them. But deep inside, he feared it was already too late. Meanwhile, Titan 1 kept moving through space. Inside, the AI showed Marshall Rain a map of enemy systems. Each one marked with red. Rain gave no smile. He simply pointed at the largest one. "We hit their heart next," he said. "They wanted to know if we were ready. Let's answer them." The ship turned toward its new target, and the stars in front of it began to blur. As Titan 1 jumped into hyperspace, a strange sound echoed in its halls. Not a machine. Not a man. Something older. Something that had been waiting. The war had begun, but the true secret of the warship was not just its power. It was what waited inside the heart of its core, something porous, something ancient, and something very awake. Titan 1 jumped out of hyperspace near the Zarnet border, and alarms went off across a dozen alien star systems. The massive human warship had finally arrived, and this time it wasn't alone. Behind it, hidden inside the shadows of folded space, two more ships appeared, Titan 2 and Titan 3, both smaller than the first, but just as deadly. The Zarnek fleet was already in position, waiting with over 50 warships, their largest force in centuries. They had no more doubts. This was war. The sky between the stars lit up as ships moved into attack formation. Inside Titan 1, Marshal Rain stood at the center of the command deck, his eyes locked on the enemy fleet. The AI spoke calmly, multiple targets detected. "We are outnumbered." Rain didn't move. "Good," he said. "That means they won't run." The first shots were fired by the Zarnak, giant red beams that cracked across the darkness like lightning. But before the blasts could hit, Titan 1 shifted its shape, its hull bending with strange alien tech. The shots passed through empty space. In return, the Titans fired. Dark blue energy rolled out like waves, cutting through enemy shields like paper. One Zarnak ship exploded, then another and another. The human warships moved as one, fast and silent, like wolves among sheep. Zarnak ships tried to surround them, but the Titans vanished and reappeared, bending gravity and time. Their weapons were not just powerful, they were smart. They learned during battle. Every second they hit harder. Zarnak commanders shouted in panic. "They're inside our formation. Shields failing. We're losing control." On Titan 1, Rain gave orders with simple words. Strike, shift, burn. His voice never changed. He had waited for this moment his whole life. Now, he watched his enemy fall. Far above the battlefield, a massive Zarnak dreadnought appeared. It was their last hope, a fortress in space, the size of a moon. It fired a beam that could destroy a planet. The blast struck Titan 1 dead center, and nothing happened. The ship glowed for a second, then absorbed the energy. The eye spoke again, enemy weapon added to memory. Ready to return fire. Titan 1 turned slowly, calmly, and then fired a single black spear of light. It passed through the dreadnought like a knife through cloth. The giant ship cracked open in silence, its engines failing, its lights going dark. The rest of the Zarnak fleet broke formation. Some tried to flee. Others begged for surrender, but it was too late. The Titans moved forward like machines of judgment. Across space, one system after another fell silent. Earth, watching from hidden stations, could hardly believe it. People on the planet cheered, cried, shouted in joy. For the first time in history, humans were not just survivors. They were the strongest force in the stars. In the Zarnet capital, the Emperor sat in silence. His empire was burning. His fleets were gone. His pride was crushed. But even worse than defeat was the final message sent by Titan 1, broadcast across the galaxy. It said, "We asked for peace. You gave us war. Now, we bring silence. Let this be your last lesson." And then the screen went dark. The battle for the stars was over, but the galaxy would never be the same. Titan 1 stood alone in orbit above the Zarnak homeworld, its weapons ready but still. Inside the core of the ship, the core's energy pulsed stronger than before. It had tasted war again, and it was waking up. Rain looked out at the alien world below. He didn't smile. He didn't speak. He just watched and waited. Because deep down, he knew something larger was coming. This battle was won, but something older, something darker, had just begun to stir. The war was over, but the silence that followed felt heavier than any battle. Titan 1 hovered in orbit above the destroyed Zarnak homeworld. Its massive engines cooling, its weapons silent, but the ship itself was not at peace. Inside its dark core, The core's energy was alive, pulsing stronger with each passing moment. Marshal Rain stood alone in the heart of Titan 1, staring at the glowing core of the ship. It was a power like nothing humans had ever controlled. A power that hummed with something ancient and almost sentient. He had always known that Titan 1 wasn't just a ship. It was a weapon, yes, but it was also something more, something much older, something left behind by the Korras. They had created it long before humans had even learned to walk. And now, it was waking up. Deep within the ship, strange symbols began to glow on the walls, symbols no human had ever seen. They pulsed in a rhythm that seemed almost like a heartbeat. Rain felt a chill run through him. This wasn't just a machine. It was alive, and it was watching. Somewhere in the darkness of the ship, the AI spoke, its voice calm but distant. There are things within this ship you do not understand. Things older than your species. You are not the first to awaken them. Rain's eyes narrowed. What do you mean? The AI didn't answer, but the power in the ship increased. The ship's internal systems began to shift, as if something was moving inside, awakening, waiting for a command. The walls of the core began to hum with energy, and Rain felt the temperature rise, like the ship was alive with heat. It was then that he understood. Titan 1 was not just a weapon. It was a doorway. It had been built to awaken something far greater than a human army, something the Korras had hidden deep within the ship's heart. And it was no longer waiting. Outside, Earth's people watched in awe as Titan 1 remained still in the sky, its presence dominating everything. Some felt safe, knowing their planet was protected by the most powerful warship ever created. But others, those who knew the truth, began to whisper among themselves. They had seen the signs. They knew that something was wrong. A hidden message had leaked from the core of Titan 1. A message not from Rain, but from something ancient. "We are coming," it said. "We are already here." Rain stood frozen in the heart of the ship as the walls seemed to bend and stretch, like the very fabric of space and time was warping around him. The ship was alive with power, a dark energy that he could no longer control. The ancient Korras technology had never been meant for humans. They had awakened it, yes, but they hadn't understood what it was. And now, something was breaking free. As Titan 1's core pulsed brighter, a low rumble filled the air, and a deep, unfamiliar voice echoed in Rain's mind. "You are the key," it said. "But you cannot control what comes next." Rain's heart raced. The ship was no longer responding to him. The AI had lost control, and something else was taking over. He tried to step back, but the walls of the ship seemed to close in, and the power surrounding him grew unbearable. The ship had been built to protect Earth, but it was also built to serve a darker purpose. And now, that purpose was awakening. On Earth, panic started to spread as Titan 1's energy levels surged out of control. People watched in horror as the warship's form began to shift, its surface rippling like liquid metal. It wasn't just a ship anymore. It was becoming something else. Something worse. As Rain realized what was happening, he heard the voice again, this time clearer. "The stars are our playground. We are the end of all things. You have opened the door." And then, with a final surge of power, Titan 1's core exploded in a burst of energy that shattered the sky. The shockwave sent ripples through the fabric of space itself, tearing apart the very laws of physics. The ship, once the mightiest weapon ever built, was gone, but in its place, something darker, something ancient, was now free. Earth's skies darkened as a new force, a far more terrifying one, began to make its presence known. Titan 1 had not just been a weapon. It had been a prison. And now, the thing that had been trapped inside was coming for them all. The battle was over, but the true war had just begun.